Okay, so now what do I do? Tier list. I've never actually done one of these yet. Creator. Tier maker. All right, cool. So now what do? We what? We search for one. Castle. Good. Let's stop the game because it is buggy AF. Sorry, everybody, but we're not gonna. They are fun. This looks like a blast. Castlevania games, spin-offs related, comprehensive Castlevania tier list. All right. This, Jesus, that's a lot of Castlevania games. Oh, that's a lot of fucking bad words. All right, so I think I recognize most of these. Let's get this a little bit bigger so I can actually see them. Can everybody see them now? Okay, good. All right, so we're gonna do this big league style, man. We're gonna do our Castlevania comprehensive tier list. So now we have ways that we can edit these as well. There's S rank, which is top of the line, perfect games, things that we think are absolutely 100% perfection. A rank, meaning it's just fine, like great, very good, excellent game. B, above average, really fun, great game, definitely something you check out. C, what I would say is average, and then D, in my opinion, would be below average or just maybe a pass. So that's what I'm going to go with on this. I don't know if I should add in a couple of things here. Hold on, let me think here. I want to be able to see everything here. So let's say display capture, is it? Or is it window? Window capture, here we go. And we could do the chat. We'll add existing chat. Okay. Okay, there we go. I'm going to do this and maybe shrink you down a little bit. Oops. We'll take this. We'll scoot it over like that. We'll take you. We'll scoot you over here. Ba boom, ba boom. Then you guys can see everything. That'd be cool. That'd be great. And then I want to take you over here. I want to take you for a ride. Na 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 na. Ba da da da. Ba da da da. I'm gonna take you for a ride. Na 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 na. Okay, sorry. I think so. And then camera face. Go. You don't need to be that big though. Holy crap! Sorry about that. I'm gonna scoot you over into the corner here. Boom, bang, boom. There we are. So now we've got our new awesome, cool tier list creator. Yay! Right, everybody? Yay! Everybody see it now? We should be good. All right, cool. All right, so now I will make sure the chat is up at front because it should be updated. There we go. We are not playing Newtopia, but what the fuck are you talking about? Newtopia. No, we are most assuredly not playing Newtopia. Hold on. Okay, yeah, there's more chat there. Okay, what I can do, I'll take this and I'll just shrink you down. There we go. We should be good now. Yep, we should be good. All right, so here we are. Chat goes there. Here we are. So now we are going to rank all of the Castlevania games, all the consoleized Castlevania games. This even includes the Bloodstained games. So what I am going to do here, though, for real, is I'm only going to rank games that I've technically played. Okay? So I have actually never played a DS Castlevania game. I never played Dawn of Sorrow. So can I drag it down here? Okay, cool. Castlevania Vampire's Kiss, is that just the Dracula X Castlevania? That must be a mod or something, and I have actually never played that either, so that's gonna go down to the bottom. However, I have played what this looks like, Aria of Sorrow. Can't tell what this one is. Is that what that is? This one right here in the front. I think that's. So let's see, Aria of Sorrow, Lament of Innocent, Bloodlines, Chronicles. Let me just take the ones down that I'm just not even gonna rank because they're not even really Castlevania games. You know what I mean? Castlevania, what is that? I don't know. Bailmont's Revenge, Curse of the Moon, Chronicles. You believe that is European version of X. Oh, okay, that's right. Yep, yep. I think you're right, Pickles. There we go. All right. Symphony of the Nights should stay. Castlevania Legends, that's fine. Belmont's Revenge. Circle of the Moon. Portrait of Ruin is a DS one again. Kid Dracula on Game Boy. Vampire Killer on the MSX2. That's awesome. I have played that one actually. Mirror of Fate I did play, but I don't like it at all. I guess if you want to call one a D rank, that'd be one. Curse of Darkness, I don't think I played. I don't know what that one is. Oh, that's that newish one. And then here's the sequel to it. And there's what is that? Vampire Killer, Akumaju Dracula, the Famicom version of Castlevania 3, Castlevania Adventure, Dracula X Chronicles on PSP. That's a weird one to have on there because it's just too. Well, it is actually kind of a shitty version of Dracula X. Okay, that's fun on there. That must be Aria of Sorrow. Castlevania Adventure Rebirth, Legacy of Darkness, another DS one that I'm not familiar with. 1, 2, 3. Order of Shadows, never played. Haunted Castle did play. And then Kid Dracula. Oh, Castlevania 4, Simon's Quest. What is that? Oh, the D one, the delisted one or whatever. Yeah, Curse of Darkness is pretty awesome, but the rooms are kind of dark and boring. Music is up there with Symphony of the Night, though. Really? Curse of Darkness. Huh. So what I'm learning here is Dracula character is a pretty consistent guy in being a pain in the butt. Yeah, that's probably it. I might do the Bloodstain games, just Curse of the Moon though, because that's the only one I've really played. I have not played Curse of the Moon 2, so that's something I want to put on my list. But okay, here we go. One of the things I will mention is because I am not very familiar with the Metroidvania or the Metroid style Castlevania games. I have played Circle of the Moon and Symphony of the Night, enjoyed them both. The Symphony of the Night, that's actually the one that came out on the Saturn, should be on this list if it's super comprehensive, because that version's a little bit different, even if it's slightly more buggy and does not play necessarily as well gameplay wise as the PlayStation version. But it has extra areas, and that's kind of cool. It should be on the list. All right, GBA Castlevania. Which one is this? This is Aria of Sorrow? Or is this one Aria of Sorrow? This is Aria of Sorrow. This one is that Curse of Darkness? No. Is it? Not Curse of Darkness. I think Curse of Darkness is one of the new ones, right? This is Curse of Darkness, yeah. That one I played. And on 360. Yeah, okay. I'm going to pop these both over to C right now. And I don't even know if they're that similar. But I do know they are in the style of Symphony of the Night. And I remember Aria of Sorrow liking it a lot. But the things I was disappointed in it the most was it basically was just a reversioning of Symphony of the Night. It was super similar to that. And I just didn't care for that style of gameplay. And also what I did not like in that version, Aria of Sorrow, is that the music sounded like original Game Boy or NES style music when the graphics looked like somewhere between Super Nintendo and Sega Saturn. Like the 2D effects were amazing in it, but it was the music, I couldn't get into it. It just felt too dated to me. The other one, I honestly don't recall much of anything original about it, but I know they're both they're both Symphony of the Night style or Metroid style games. So I'm going to list them down in average because I don't think. Is it Harmony of Dissonance? That's it. Yeah, that had awful music, and I just can't. I'm sorry, but Castlevania games are great tight gameplay with stiff fucking tank Belmonts and amazing music and good graphics, good all that stuff. Like great characters, great bosses, the whole thing. But if the music sucks in a Castlevania game, to me, it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't feel right. Castlevania Bloodlines. Oh, boy. I might be getting unfriended pretty soon here. But what I'll say is I do love Bloodlines. To me, it's A tier. I think it's an incredibly good game. It is a very good step away from the like that original tanky style, very stiff style of Castlevania games. When I think of the trilogy, the original trilogy, not including that fucking Vampire's Kiss or Super Nintendo Dracula X game, but I would say, as far as that 16-bit trilogy, and I know Pickle disagrees on the Super Nintendo one, but I loved how each one was so freaking unique, and each one had its own particular character, music. Like you knew which one you were playing because it stood apart so far from everything else. And the thing about it's broken. Oh, the thing about um, each one is that they came out on different consoles. So you had Rondo of Blood on the PC Engine, you had Super Nintendo Castlevania 4, and then later Dracula X bullshit, and then you had Castlevania Bloodlines on the Genesis. And each one of those took the strengths of each console and like pushed it to the fucking nth degree, you know? And they're just so different and so great. I love the 16-bit trilogy of Castlevania games. They're all A or better for me, all of them, except for that stupid Dracula X, that 1995 Dracula X bullshit. Castlevania Chronicles, I hold on the same level as Bloodlines. I loved that it was a callback to the original style. It was basically a retelling of Castlevania 1. But man, it's so good. It's such a good game. I loved that it had that feel of being like still a 16-bit Castlevania game, but like it was on the X6800 in Japan, and then we in the US finally got it on the PlayStation, and whoa, I was just so excited to see an original style Castlevania. I thought it was really cool that mainstream people loved Symphony of the Night, and it was super popular, and everyone was just so behind it. I love that. That's great for everyone else. But man, when Chronicles came out, that is my PlayStation favorite. And we've got Circle of the Moon is the first GBA release Castlevania game that used the Metroidvania style of gameplay. Castlevania Chronicles is really hard. It is a very difficult game. I'm not so sure though if it's any. Is it harder than like Adventure Rebirth? Because I think that one's. I think they're kind of on par, and I love the fact that also they're very similar games, being that they're late release Castlevania games that went back to the original drawing board and said we're going to make another linear Castlevania game. It's great. But Circle of the Moon is the first Nintendo Castlevania 2 to also use that Metroidvania style of gameplay, and I thought it was really good. When I first got a GBA, it was in 2001 when the Game Boy came out, Game Boy Advance, especially if you were playing the original mode and not arranged. Yeah, yeah. The oh boy, what was I just saying? Whoa, I lost what I was saying. Oh no! Oh, the GBA. Yeah, the GBA. I got a GBA, and I got at launch. I think Circle of the Moon came out at launch, but either launch or really close to around launch. I got my purple GBA. With GBS. It is on the GBS. It was the Game Boy Super. The Game Boy Super. Fuck. Anyway, the GBA, Circle of the Moon, and I got Super Dodgeball, the Technos updated one with 16-bit graphics and all that sexiness. Oh, it was so fun. Those two games were great. I spent a ton of time playing Circle of the Moon. I enjoyed it. I actually personally think it's a better game than Symphony of the Night. But I think that Pickles, and I'm serious about this, I think that might have to do it because you could jiggle the whip like you can in the Super Nintendo one. Just jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. You can do that on Circle of the Moon. Or is it just the whip? Maybe it's just the spinning part. I don't know. Whatever it is, you can do cool stuff with the whip in Circle of the Moon. I don't know why there aren't more Castlevania games that use the N6 or the Jesus, I said N64. Used the Super Nintendo Castlevania 4 engine, like for that whip and stuff, just to do all that, because it's so nice. It's so advanced, Pickle Friction. It's so ahead of what they could do in the Genesis. Castlevania 2 Belmont's Revenge. It is probably the best Game Boy Castlevania game. Well, then considering it's just Castlevania Adventure and Legends, but I would never ever put it up to the level of a Bloodlines or Chronicles though. And I don't know if it's necessarily even as good as Circle of the Moon, but I would still say B level. It's better than the GBA other Symphony of the Night style games. It's a great Game Boy game. But I would never put it up to the level of Bloodlines or Chronicles, and definitely not above that. So I'd say a B. Belmont's Revenge is a really good Castlevania game. I really actually have a good soft spot for Castlevania Adventure, the first one too, when we get to that, because I enjoyed playing through that. It's very strange. It feels to me, though, like they try to do less with Castlevania Adventure than they did with Belmont's Revenge. Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, Belmont's Revenge. But like it felt faster. Like Castlevania Adventure, which is slow as hell, still felt faster to me than Belmont's Revenge. But maybe I got to replay them again. I don't know. Here we go with Castlevania Judgment. This was a Wii game. This is one of two Wii Castlevania games, by the way. And they decided to go in a very different route, which Pickle pointed out a lot of good positives about this game. He talked about the characters and how cool they looked, and like the amount of characters that are in it, and how they actually had storyline lore that goes back into the original Castlevanias. I remember, actually, I think I actually still own this game. Maybe I don't. I don't know. I dwindled down my Wii collection not too long ago. I might have gotten rid of it, which is maybe a mistake. I should have kept it. Anyway, I remember when a Castlevania game coming out on the Wii. Wait, it's a fighting game. Oh well, I don't care. It's still Castlevania. So I bought it, and I remember really liking the remix Castlevania musics in it. So like stage music and like other areas and stuff had very Castlevania like total callbacks to originals, either remakes or remixes, or just straight up like new song, or no, straight up just using the original soundtracks. But it was great. Castlevania Judgment is a very cool game. I'm very sorry. It has really cool music. It's not that cool of a game though. Matter of fact, it's not good at all. I'm going to put it in a D ranking. Now it's not an F. It doesn't mean it's completely worthless and it should never even been played. But it's not. You say yay to that? I thought you'd say nay to that, my friend. Yay or nay? Anyway, Castlevania Legends is a terrible, terrible Castlevania game in my opinion. It might even be one of the worst on the list. I can't play Castlevania Legends at all. It tries to be like the Castlevania adventure games. You also play as Sonia Belmont, but and it would have been cool had they taken more time and like actually made it maybe for the Game Boy Color. It's bad. It's a bad Castlevania game. Castlevania 64, Pickle Friction's one of his favorite Castlevania games. He plays through it annually. Also being really, really popular these days with the Dark Souls crowd. They're starting to really come around to that Castlevania game. As Pickle and I talked on his stream not too long ago. But even with all that being said, yeah, I know you think it's an S. Even with all that being said, I think to me it's still a C rank. I actually wind up usually enjoying the sequel or the second one, Legacy of Darkness, a bit better, but not much better. So Castlevania 64, there it is. I can't do like Pickle does every year. I wouldn't be able to sit down and play through it. I really don't think I would be able to. I actually have it. I have the cart for it. Maybe I could try it someday, but that's only if it's like, I don't know, give me $20 and I'll pay it. Give me $20 and I'll play Castlevania 64. All right, Symphony of the Night. We've talked about this one. Most people would put this at A or B or S, or they just put it on the top of their list saying it's the best Castlevania game of all time. Most people would. However, I think to me, it's just really good. It's not the best. It really isn't. It tries so hard to be Super Metroid. It tries so hard. Konami's like, what's that? Let's just do that. Yeah, he probably would play Castlevania 64. That'd be fine. I'd be cool. I'd be very interested to play such an awesome, awesome legendary Castlevania game, especially with the expert who knows everything. So then he could say where I should go or help me out in certain situations. I'd be down for that. Come pick me up. We'll play some Castlevania. Rondo of Blood is maybe one of the best video games ever created. It's wonderful. It's on the PC engine, so that makes it immediately cooler than everything else. I'm kidding. Um, even without it being on the TurboGrafx, it's still a glorious game. It's the one that felt like it took the torch from Castlevania 3, when it was going into the 16-bit era. Castlevania 3 has so much depth to it and branching paths, and you could pick up friends along the way and go off and defeat Dracula and learn all sorts of new things about all these different characters. In Rondo of Blood, you can pretty much do the same thing with branching paths, secret areas. You can unlock secret rooms to save people, like the woman of your the love of your life, or Maria, this little cute little, plucky girl who throws pigeons and stuff. Like you can unlock Maria, play through the game as Richter, however you want. But the level design, the graphics, the music are beyond anything that came out that year. I think it's perfection. I wouldn't change a thing. Matter of fact, I want to play Rondo of Blood next week. Like that would be the game I play next week, and it is so good. Kid Dracula on the Game Boy. It's a very different game than Kid Dracula on the NES, but I don't know a whole lot about it. I would still say, though, that I'm not going to rank it yet. I'm going to think about it. Because I would rank the first Kid Dracula as a B. Yeah, it's not as good as Bloodlines. I'm looking at Bloodlines and Chronicles here, and Symphony of the Night as well. And every time I look at A rank, I'm thinking about these other games. It's like, man, I could pop them up in at least A rank. And it's like, nope, it is not as good as those games. That's the toughest thing about Castlevania. Aren't they pigeons? She throws pigeons or like doves. I think it's doves. Doo, doo, doo. Little ghost doves. I'm serious. Maria throws doves, I swear. The hardest thing about this list is that these games are already an entire level better than everything else. Matter of fact, me ranking things as C's as average is probably pretty wrong because those games are above average. And shit, Castlevania Judgment is honestly average too. It could be ranked a C. So maybe your D's are average, your C's above average, your B's are great, your A's are excellent, and S's are perfect. Castlevania games, they must be ranked differently than others because they're so gosh darn good. However, Vampire Killer on the Vampire Killer on the MSX is actually really good. It is a redoing of the original Castlevania game, which I just played through, and it's really good. Actually, I think it might have come first, or they were being developed simultaneously. Whichever. It's a Castlevania game that plays a lot like the first Castlevania. At least the graphics and the sprites are all looking like they're from the first Castlevania. But the game is screen to screen to screen. So think about like Zelda when you can only do a screen and then you go through a door and then you pop over to another screen. This is that, but a side scroller. So you have to get from one area to the next. And a lot of the areas I'm sorry, I'm holding my fingers way too close. A lot of those areas in the first, in that Castlevania for the MSX. Okay, so Castlevania MSX came out after 1, but before 2. And it's a great game. It has certain areas that have an area where you have to climb up to the top of a stage, grab a key, and come back all the way down, and then go over 2 screens and then unlock a door, or figure out ways to get through doorways and stuff like that. But you can only go 1 screen at a time, and it's unique and it's fun. It's great. The first time I'd played it, I was trying to play it like a regular Castlevania game and just go to the right, and that didn't work. So I think the first stage you can do that way, but after that, everything else is a puzzle and you have to figure out stuff, and it's good. It's really good. Castlevania Curse of Darkness. This is a PlayStation 2 game, I believe. I would rank that as average. It's probably just on par with Castlevania 64. Does that work? Curse of Darkness is the one I need to try. It is on my Xbox, and everything I've read about it, it's been pretty good. But once I can talk on it more, I'll rank it either higher or lower. But for right now, I'll say it's above average. We have, I think this is, what is this? Is that Akumaju Dracula X? No. That's this one. This must be 1. So this is I'm gonna move this one down. Oh shit. No, I should move them both down because I'm not gonna do the Japanese versions and the English versions. Like that would be silly, or the American versions. All right, Castlevania Adventure. It is one step below Castlevania Adventure 2. It is average. I do have really good memories of playing it. But I think, and it feels like it's a faster game than Belmont's Revenge. Oh well, then which one? I've also played Castlevania Adventure 1 a lot more than I played 2, because I always thought to myself, I never want to play 2 unless I beat the first one. I have that weird feeling like sometimes I want to play the first one before I play a second one of any game. Um, so I've played a lot more. I just which one I like more. I do think Belmont's Revenge is a better game. I've not played it as much though. I'll play it more. The Dracula X Chronicles I thought was fine. Um, it's not like I can rank it good or bad. Um, the game that it comes with is a 2.5D version of Rondo of Blood, and it's like there's certain aspects of it that are kind of cool. I remember I played through it once to the end, and then I also unlocked both Dracula X and Symphony of the Night, which are also in the game for the PSP. Um, but it's not great. It's not great, and then including two other games is just a way to get a cheap pop, man. However, that is the first time that the Rondo Blood game Dracula X before was ever that was the first time it was ever released in the U.S. was on that Dracula X Chronicles. So that's got to be something. And then I think it was also on the Wii on Virtual Console. But Castlevania Adventure Rebirth. That's like my baby, man. I love it just as much as Chronicles, just as much as Bloodlines. It's so good. It is so good. Any one of these could be moved up to this top rank. Maybe not the MSX Vampire Hunter or Vampire Killer, but way up there. Legacy of Darkness, I think, is good. I'm going to put it at a above average or a B, because I think it's just slightly better than the N64 one. I don't think it's totally better. It might not even be better. I might just be imagining things, but it has use of the 4 meg chip for the N64. What was that called? What was that chip called on the N64? Anyway, I think it's a better game. It has better features, it has more levels. I think it looks nicer. That's that. Original Castlevania. It is the game that started it all, and it did it all right away from the get go. It is, in my opinion, perfect. I would not change a single thing about it. Simon's Quest. So, in the game, it runs worse if you take advantage of the expansion. You know, some might think that, some might, but I like 5 frames per second, man. I like that. I like the fact that the game takes sharp, jaggedy things and makes them look slightly smoother with bad frame rate, man. I like that, okay? Don't say it runs worse or runs better. I'll be the judge of that. I think it runs better. So if we didn't have Simon's Quest, we would never have had Bloody Tears. Right? That's the name of the song. I don't so Castlevania 2 has a lot of issues. It really does. It's not too easy, like you had said. They had tried to. What's the nay? Oh, the nay is Legacy of Darkness. Yeah. But like they tried to do something that had never been done before. Really, what was Zelda 2? Maybe you could consider an open world side-scrolling game, like that whole concept. That's Simon's Quest. Oh, Metroid, I guess you could say. But Simon's Quest did so many firsts. You know what I mean? In the series before a lot of other things came to be. With even if Dracula's Curse, Castlevania 3 takes after the first game. Simon's Quest is almost like that game that was like it was something else initially, but then it wound up being a Castlevania game. Maybe not. But yeah, it's a good one. It's not as good as a lot of those. I think I'm gonna rank Simon's Quest because of the music alone, it was the first bad one. Oh my god. I'm gonna rank it as a C. It belongs right around here with Castlevania Adventure and stuff like that. No, not Castle. Yeah, the Game Boy Castlevania Adventure. I think it's right around there. It's just comprehensive. Comprehensive. Um it's here's the thing. If we didn't have Simon's Quest, we wouldn't have all that kick-ass music. So let's just leave it be. That game had a perfect soundtrack. It has some issues for sure, but it introduced a very different concept to the Castlevania games right from the get-go. And yeah, I have good memories of playing Castlevania 2 though, and trying to figure out all the puzzles and going through the game and just I don't know, a lot of it is just mindlessly wandering around. But once you get all your weapons powered up and stuff, you are pretty damn stacked, jacked, and ready to attack. But there's a lot of games now that come out on like Steam and stuff like that, and they're very much so just trying to be like Simon's Quest. So that open world Metroidvania stuff. All right, Castlevania 3. It is the perfect NES Castlevania game. Like there's no way to make a better NES Castlevania game. It just isn't. That game is perfect. It's got the perfect ramp up in difficulty. It's got branching paths. It's just wonderful. It goes along so well with Rondo of Blood. Haunted Castle's that arcade game you were playing, right, Pickles? That's fucking awful. It looks like shit. Plays like shit. It's terrible. That's the worst Castlevania game ever made. The original Kid Dracula on the Game Boy, I'm going to rank right next to the NES one because I don't remember what the difference is really that much between the two of them. Then we come to something weird that I don't know what it is. Then we come to, oh yeah, that's the fixed Simon's Quest. And then we have the Circle of the Moon game. I'll do Castlevania 4 and Circle of the Moon. I never played that Simon's Quest fixed. Wrong button. Wow. That's pretty funny, actually. And I never played Bloodstained, the original, or Bloodstained 2, Curse of the Moon 2. I don't know what the rest of this shit is. Dawn of Sorrow, DS, whatever. I'm not gonna. All right, so Castlevania 4, Pickle Friction, to me, is one of the best games ever made. It's an S tier for me. It is what I think pretty much the perfect Castlevania game. Now, if it had been, I don't know, maybe a little bit bigger with certain characters that you could save and capture and like trade and switch between, or any kind of depth with like branching paths or anything like that, yeah, maybe it would have been even better. But like, and I also don't necessarily like the fact that it's kind of a retelling of the first game again. Yeah, for me, it is one of the best Castlevanias. If I think of my top three, I have a hard time including Castlevania 1 in that. It's usually Rondo, Castlevania 3, or Castlevania 4. Those are my favorite. And I often switch between Castlevania 4 and Rondo being my favorite. It just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. I played through Castlevania 4 so many times. I just fucking love it. I think it's just as good as those other three. That's my ranking. That's what I do. That's what I think. I love these games, and some of these here could be S, and then they could be like 1A, 1A, 1B, because all of these are the 1As, the best of the bests. And man, Bloodlines, Chronicles, or Adventure Rebirth could easily slide up into that top. So it's almost like these three could go right up here with them. It's just a sliver different. Like I like Rondo better than I like Bloodlines. I can say that easily. I like Dracula X. Or I'm sorry. I like Castlevania 3 more than Bloodlines, more than Chronicles. So yeah, there's a list there. There's like a gap between those top S ranks, the A, the B, the C. I think this is exactly how I feel about it. And if you agree, cool. If you don't agree, I don't care. I just don't care. I just don't care. I'm going to take a snippety snip of that real quick. Oh, where'd you go? Okay, there we go. And I'll put that on Discord for us to look at. Oh, saying just don't care. What was I saying that about? All right, there's your tier list of. Yeah, there we go. Castlevania gets unfollowed. Nice, thanks, Pickles. There's our tier list. Boom. Man, I could either play a little bit of. Whoops, what am I doing here? I could either play a little bit of Castlevania 4, or I could play Plock to get through Plocktober a little more. What are your guys' thoughts? Plock is so fucking hard, though. Hold on, I'm gonna get some more water. Some more water.